Hi, this is Melissa Etheridge rocking the airwaves on Backbeat, the rock source with AndreGraziadei on Fry's Radio, Freudenstadt.
All music is the same. It's just a new set of lyrics and a new backbeat.
Melissa, thanks for taking some time out to have a chat with me.
My pleasure.
AndreGraziadei for the Backbeat Experience and a chat with Melissa Etheridge. Your father was a teacher. You went to Berkeley, but you didn't finish. You left early to go west. What happened there? I mean, what did your dad say about that?
Well, my father had always told me that, I could go out in the world and do what I want as long as I was self-sufficient.
Right.
So as long as I was making enough money and wasn't calling them and asking for money, he's like, all right, you're out there, you're living, you're doing your thing, whatever. They wanted me to go to college. That's what they knew. They knew college it lifted them out of a certain, class or a certain, economic group. So they felt very strongly about college. And so I went to Berkeley. I was there a few months. Then I got a job down in a lounge, and I was making, $250 a week. I could pay rent. I got a apartment, and I just stopped caring about school. I was doing my music, and the end goal was always to go to LA and get that record deal in LA. That was the goal. So I saved up enough money, went back to Kansas, played some more, saved some more money, and then I got out to California.
Because there's a lot of musicians that don't finish their schooling at Berkeley and they just head out and do their thing.
Yeah, because once you start, do you want to stay in school to get the jobs that you're being offered now? I mean, just go do it if you can. And on the other hand, now Berkeley has some great classes and some great degrees and stuff you can really learn there. Not to, me, I wanted to be a star, but if you want to be in the music business, Berkeley's a great school to go to finish and learn.
Well, maybe you'll get a degree someday.
They gave me.
They gave you one.
They gave me one in 2006.
Honorary.
Yep, I got that.
Cool. So you're from Leavenworth?
Yeah.
Well, the only thing that's probably famous for is the jail.
I spent 18 years in Leavenworth. That's what I say.
Well, I have to admit, there's something about this energy and drive that you have in your singing. I mean, I don't know, I just picture you as some kind of a firecracker, There's just this energy that's there. Has it changed from that point in the 80s till today? I know you've gone through quite a lot in your life till now.
Yeah, quite a lot. Actually, I would say I'm better than I was then. I wish I still had, as we look back in our 20s and, youth is wasted on the young. Right. I wish I had the energy that I had back then. Yeah. If I had that now, then I'd be great. Yet, I'm great as it is because I'm healthier.
Right.
And that was it's funny because the rock and roll lifestyle certainly does not promote any sort of health. And yet I feel and I believe that when I'm on stage now, that my attention to health makes me a better singer, makes me a better guitar player, makes me a better entertainer. And that's my goal. So I can appreciate what I was doing back in the 80s, back in the 90s, and yet I feel like I've become a better musician and an even better rock star.
Would you say that your voice has even actually gotten better?
Yes.
Because I've spoken to a lot of people and they've actually confirmed that.
And it's because I realized that the way that I use my voice, the sort of demands I put on it,
right,
that if I don't keep my inner system healthy, if I don't keep my digestive system healthy, that's the first time I was like sick in the 90s and I was like losing my voice. I'm like, what's this? The big Beverly Hills doctor said, it's your stomach. It's not, you don't have a cold, it's your stomach. It's the acid reflux,
right,
and it's just, it's what you're eating. So when I went through my breast cancer thing in 2004, I completely had a better understanding of health. And you can see the next album I made after that, my voice completely changed because I cut out the sugar, I cut out the dairy, I cut out the wheat, I cut out the red meat, all that stuff that we enjoyed so much, and is just not healthy for us. And now that I enjoy the healthy stuff, I know exactly how to keep my voice in strong health.
Well, you've changed your diet in that respect. Have you found or have you discovered any type of food that you didn't know of back then because you've changed the diet?
Oh, completely. I've become a crazy foodie, you know.
Really?
You know, quinoa. I never even knew how to say it back then, you know. Things like quinoa, and just, you know, fresh vegetables, and the joy of different balsamic vinegars, you know, the taste, flavor, all these things that, you know, too much sugar and too much of these other kind of foods really kills your taste buds.
Numbs them.
Yeah, and so when you get back to health or balance, it's really quite a joy. Things are delightful.
It's almost like as if you quit smoking.
Indeed. Exactly.
Yeah.
Those things suppress your body, and it's about reducing inflammation. I just sound like a 50-year-old. Reducing inflammation, and you know, and not suppressing, letting your immune system do what it's supposed to do.
Do you do gardening on your own?
Oh, I do. I have a garden at home. Of course, I'm not there enough to enjoy it.
Exactly. Yeah. Well.
Yeah. So I have somebody that helps me look after it. But I love. There's nothing like pulling something off the plant and eating it. It's like you're eating sunshine. It's just amazing.
Okay. What's your favorite thing in the garden?
Oh, the little sweet peas, because I love to bring the little, like, English snap peas, because I bring the kids down there, and when they're ready, we all pull them off, and we just gobble them up. I just love that.
So I have to commend you for your honesty, your openness, and your straightforwardness.
Thank you.
Because I was looking at some stuff online, and I think you've always been that way, and probably more so since you're outcoming. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you know, it's I don't know.
There it is.
But the thing is, in this day and age with social media and so on, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Isn't it kind of hard to keep your private life in a low profile?
Yeah, once I opened that door, there was just no turning back with that. And it became huge on its own. And some people know me like that, but don't really know my music now. And it's kind of, it's a funny place to be. Yet, I don't regret it. I would not change it. And now that social media, now everybody kind of lets you in on that. And it's funny because social media will keep you honest in a way. If you try to play the game with social media and present yourself in a way that you're not, that's going to crumble on you really quick, because this is the day and age that nobody's getting away with anything. You know, it's all everybody's
WikiLeaks.
Yeah, everybody's accountable because of the nature of our information age. So I'm glad that I made a choice a long time ago to just go, you know what, it's not worth it to create stories to lie, and you know, it's not worth it. I'm just going to be myself, and I'm just going to just hold that. That's going to be my bar. You know, I'm going to speak truthfully. I'm going to answer the questions, and I'm just going to speak truthfully and just take whatever comes. And it has. I've been rewarded for that, and I would not change that. And I would say to this day to still do that. Yeah.
You have a great connection with your audience and your fans. I mean, that's reflected in your album cover for your new album, where you took all the pictures and made the cover with it. I think that's great. What made you decide to actually? How difficult was it to make that?
Well, there's a company who did that. There's there's like a design thing that you do. You send pictures in, and that's actually a photo that was taken of me, and then how to take those pictures to make the photo. That's something that this graphic people did that I didn't do it myself. But you know, but the idea came from myself and my management, that my fans are a big part of me, and if I was calling the album "This Is Me," that you know, that's what the music is about. I can certainly make music all day long for myself, and that's all fine, but the sharing of it and the bringing the fans in and the fans making it part of their life is what gives me a career. So it was really fun doing that, because then there was an app then you could click on and you can find your picture and then flag it.
I was wondering about that, because there's so many pictures there.
And people can go find their picture.
Pinpoint.
Yeah.
Fantastic. You've left now the majors. You're on an independent release. Is this your own startup?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, CD sales are slumping these days. LPs are coming back.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, but how has that changed now from a major to an indie?
Well, when I was on a major, everything was focused on the sale of that product, the album. and all the money was put into selling this album, and they would only put so much in the creation of it, and then the promotion of it, and then if it didn't, they probably already figured it's going to do so much, and once it kind of did that, then they were done, because that's business. That's good business, and it would be bad business to try to do more in their view. As an independent, it's not about the album. The album means it's about me as an artist.
Right.
It's about, now the way that I do it, the record label is mine, I own it, and I use my management who gets a piece of me. So when I make money, they make money.
Right.
So now we're selling me now, not the product. So this can go on and on. I mean, I put this out in September, and it's just starting. And that's the way we used to be able to do it with the record labels. They used to have enough money to bring me some water. That was like 2 years I worked, the first album. So now I can take my time with this and talk about the music and create it, and we can do whatever we want. So I'm loving this very much.
I would imagine
so.
It's like a walk in the park at this point in time.
Yes.
So you've had cooperation on this album. How did it affect the feel of the album?
That was an interesting part, because that's part of the change in paradigm then from the big majors, where here's this budget, here's this chunk of money, now go make a record, and I would write the songs, then get a producer, and 2 weeks you're in the studio and the record's done. There you go.
Almost like a formula.
Yeah, that was how it used to be, and that was fine. Well, the formula changed because you don't have the money up front. Now, with technology, everyone's got their little studio. They can create full albums in a closet or something, and so you go collaborate, and they get a part of the song now. You can't pay them up front. You don't have the money up front, but you give them the back end. So you get to do this, and it's on spec, so you can... I recorded 20 songs, many songs with many people. Some of it didn't work out. Some of it did. Some of it we just, set aside. And then the money comes afterwards. And I had to learn collaboration. And the part that was the best for me is when I realized that the people I was collaborating with had such a respect for me, had more of a respect for me than I have for myself sometimes. And they would be the first to go, no, that's good. Stop, do that. That was amazing. And it kind of brought me back. It's why people say this album reminds them of the old me, because the people that I collaborated with, they encouraged me to kind of be that strong.
To go back there.
To go back there and be that. And then they provided the modern touch on it. And so, songs like even Monster and Ain't That Bad, even though they're in these modern day sounds, those are just old rock and blues songs, that I've always been making. So I just had I love the new way of making records.
You had some. Is this the first time? I don't know. I got to go back and listen to your music. But you got somebody singing background for you.
Yeah, I don't do that very often.
I didn't think so.
At all. No. And if there was, it was usually band members kind of singing along. The Awakening I brought like a couple of gals in, but that was a whole different kind of beast. And for the first time, I was in Jerry Wanda's, and some sisters were going to sing background. I'm like, yeah, especially Monster. I'm like, there you go, a little call and repeat. Here we go. This is, it's an old rock and roll. I mean, have you seen the documentary? 20 Feet from Stardom.
No, I haven't.
Oh, you have to watch it. It's all about background singers in rock and roll.
Okay.
Mary Clayton singing, Give Me Shelter and stuff. It's beautiful, but it's all about that story.
What's it called?
20 Feet from Stardom. Oh my God, watch it tonight. Or no, not tonight. You're at my show. Tomorrow night.
Cool. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah. I think it won the Academy Award.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Okay. Do It Again. To me is a single.
That's funny. I'm going to do it tonight. That's good. Good. Thank you.
I think so. More so than Oddly enough, more so than Monster.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I have had so many different opinions on this album, and it's funny being the one. I'm the one. Ultimately, I can make the choice. I certainly listen. Like I listen to in Germany. It's like, what do you think? And the people that do the radio and do all that, I'll take their opinion, and I usually go with that. And in America, and Do It Again. It's funny. It pops up, and when I made it, I was like, oh hello, that's like, let's put that on the radio right now. And you never know. So I hope that then we get another one after Monster, and I hope that it's Do It Again.
I'm sure that will be it. If I get this right, Stronger Road has very much a southern feel to it.
Stranger Road, yeah. It's, I wanted to write a song about sort of my southern roots, and I wanted to kind of, I had been enjoying these, like the Civil Wars, these bands that were kind of, like the band, taking these old sounds back, and I was like, let's create that, and it's about running away down the Missouri, and and the devil's chasing me, and that kind of country rock sort of feel, and that's what I actually looked on Google. I looked around my hometown. I said what, and I was like, oh, Stranger Road. There's a Stranger Road right
really?
on my. And I wasn't familiar with it because it's just outside of my hometown. I was like, oh, I'm writing a song about Stranger Road. Yeah.
Well, influences, you never know.
Yeah, Google.
Google. Do you do a lot of improvising in your show?
Oh yeah.
Really?
That's what I'm enjoying about the solo show, is I'll lay down like a loop with hand drums, and then I'll play and sing the song, and then I'll put a little rhythm down, and then I get to pick up the guitar and I just get to play and totally. I love taking these, like Chrome Plated Heart. People love that song, and then I'll improvise on it after that. I try not to go too long because I don't want to turn into a jazz girl, but just enough to have fun.
You brought out a Christmas album, which for some artists, I spoke to Paul Young, and he said a Christmas album is always something very difficult because, to try to come up with something new and something different. How was it for you? Was it tricky to write?
I had a real purpose behind my Christmas. I wanted to do it because this was just after cancer, and I had kind of an awakening about my life and about my spirit, and call it spirituality or something. And I felt that time of year when everyone kind of gets, wherever they come from, that time of year is a time of reflection and thought and spirit. And so I wanted to write new. I wanted to take some of the old dogma out of some of the Christmas, stuff. And so the original songs, I really enjoyed. Some of my favorite songs. "O Night Divine" is the music of O Holy Night, and I just completely wrote a whole new thing over it about the solstice, saying that this night has been, divine for, thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Not just this, but the solstice this is where it all came from. So that's kind of where I came from with that's why it's a new thought for Christmas. And then I sang some of the secular songs that we all know, the secular Christmas songs that we know, and I just created this. I love the Christmas album.
Oddly enough, though, you don't to this point. What is this now? Your 12th studio album?
Yes, 12th.
You don't have anything live, do you?
Isn't it funny? I have a couple of live DVDs.
Right.
And every time I've come to the point of, I thought in 95 or 6 I'd have a live album, and it just, I wanted to record a new album live.
Right.
I wanted to do Peter Frampton. That was one of the greatest albums ever. Some of my favorite albums.
The largest selling live album.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
So, and by the time we really got around to it, the internet creates such a. It's hard to get anybody interested in a live, like just an album. So we now, I've got a live DVD coming out, and I think with it it'll have a CD. I have to
extract the music from it.
Yeah, and then you take the music from it. So and my live recordings are now something that I will probably offer on my website to drive people to that. Since the music business has changed, the record business has changed, but I know, isn't that silly? The best thing I do is live, and don't have a live album.
Well, the social media is giving you the opportunity to do that and sell it yourself live online. You got your star on the Walk of Fame. You got 2 Grammys, although you still are the Meryl Streep of music. You got an Oscar. What would you want to be recognized for?
Thank you for calling me that. I would. Those are all wonderful. Those are all incredible.
I mean, they're all just like positions in life, but it doesn't make,
No, I don't
at
make
the end
my
of the
music.
day, it doesn't...
Yeah, I don't make my music for those awards.
No.
Those are great things to have in our office, and it's really fun. And it does mean a lot to me because it's a certain sign to me.
That's
of,
you've achieved something,
yeah, and that's nice. So I actually don't think of my goals, in reference to awards, but I certainly would love to do something on Broadway. I would love for my music to be presented there. I would love to do more film, more television. Hopefully there'll be a place in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for me someday.
Well, you're past the 25-year,
That I am.
so it's just a matter of
A
time.
matter of hello.
Family touring. How difficult is it to be away from family?
That's probably the hardest thing I do is work when I'm away from my family and schedule it, because there's just as my kids get older, they have their own crazy schedules too, and my wife works and it can be lonely out here sometimes. Yet each person in my family understands that this is what I do, and
That's your
this
job.
is what I love, and never has anyone ever complained or made me feel bad about it, and they're so supportive and so grateful that it's really a beautiful thing, and I'm looking forward to the summer because that's when they come out to visit me when I'm on the road. So
Cool.
Yeah.
But at least today we have Skype, so you can Skype with them.
that makes such a difference when you see them. Oh my goodness, huge.
You've got a Canadian connection.
Yes.
Definitely, because before the Grammys ever even acknowledged you got a Juno from Canada
Yes.
as Best New Artist.
Yes. Yes. You're correct.
Philip Sayes played with you.
Yes.
So there's another Canadian connection.
Yep.
And you was, as you mentioned, you were just in Montreal. You played on the French version of The
Voix.
Voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how do you picture then Canada on the global scene? Since I'm from there, I'm curious what you're going to say.
Well, let me tell you, I also added to all that, just did a television show called Who Do You Think You Are, where I found out I have French-Canadian roots.
Well, there you go.
That my father's mother, and then 5 times back grandfather, came from France and settled in Quebec in New France. I learned so much about the history of France and New France in America that we don't learn when we're in America.
Nope.
We in our public school we learned that the British came over and then they were Americans.
Yeah.
And we sort of conveniently left the French out. So it was amazing to find out the rich history around Missouri, where my 4 times great grandfather came down the river and settled in the Mississippi, and there was a huge group of French who lived there. They're the French and Indians, and they were great, and this rich history. So I went back to Quebec, and it meant so much that this was the first place that my music was received and heralded. And one of the things I learned when I was learning the history was the guy would talk about how the French Canadians would come down to Missouri and how every night there would be music. Every night they would play guitars and they would dance and they would sing, and you could always hear it in the background. And the music was such a deep part of their culture, and it just warmed me. I said, there it is. That's, even though it wasn't around me physically at the time, it was in my blood, and so I think it's funny because Quebec has that sort of independent, nature about it. They want to be, known for who they are, and then there's Canada, and I think Canada, the whole part of Canada is kind of America without the anxiety, without some of the paranoia that we have in America. I think the steadiness of Canada has always been such you're like the older sibling that we have yet to really give the credit to. Yeah, but you were the first to do gay marriage. You're leading in cannabis. You're just all these changes in the world. You're just quietly, making those social changes. The work that you've done with immigration, and it's really astounding. I always go to Canada and I say it's great to be in the land of the free.
Yeah, we're kind of like the quiet crowd.
Yes.
As opposed to the Americans.
Yes, we're a little noisy.
Just a little. You're in Europe right now. Soccer is kind of like the world sport. What would be your favorite sport? I know the NHL playoffs are on right now, but...
Oh, I know.
That's
you know
hockey.
what? I was not raised with soccer or hockey.
You were raised with music.
I was raised, well, yes, but my father was a big sports fan, and it was all about football.
Football?
It was all about, and American football.
Okay.
And the Kansas City Chiefs, because I grew up, in Leavenworth, Kansas. So it was that, followed by baseball and basketball. My father played basketball, high school. He coached the high school basketball team, took him to state. And so, but the only thing that really stuck, I'll watch some baseball and basketball, but I don't watch it as an enjoyment. Football, I can watch any game of NFL football and I'm happy.
Really?
I love it.
So you're not rooting for anyone in
Oh, I am
particular?
rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
I always root for them. Sometimes it's painful, and sometimes it's fun.
But of course, as everyone else does, even here in Europe, they watch the Super Bowl.
Oh, I know, isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Well, how was it? How did they go down this year? Was it last year? They got annihilated.
Oh, yeah, last year.
It was last year,
The
wasn't
year
it?
before, yeah, last year it was the Broncos.
2014,
and
they
Seattle
just
just
got-
killed them. But then this year was the last play was an interception.
That's right.
And it was like, what? Because they were just about to win,
And they said,
Seattle's
why
about
did
to
they
win.
pass it to this guy and not the other one?
And why didn't they hand it to you? And that's what I love about football. It just hangs by just anything you can change in a moment.
Absolutely. So let's see now. Either or. Motorcycle or bicycle?
Bicycle.
Bicycle?
Yeah.
Okay. But you have a leather jacket on your first album.
Yeah.
You're not a biker.
Do you know what?
Do you have a motorcycle license?
I do not.
You don't? Okay.
I know. That's just it. I never... There were so many people who were like, please don't ride a motorcycle. Please don't. I was like, all right. I got a scooter once for a while.
Okay.
But that's, Yeah, so
Wow.
I'm more a little... I
So
know.
bicycle counts. All right.
Yeah, okay.
Cooking or shopping?
Cooking. Love to cook.
Yeah, I love it too. That's a nice, kind of like nice hobby.
Yeah.
Walking or driving?
Ooh, I like both. But I'll walk. I really like to. I really like to stay healthy.
Health.
Walking is the healthier. I love a good drive though up the beach or something. But
Yeah, because a lot of people are lazy. They just get in the car to go to the
oh
corner.
no, yeah, no, I don't. No, I'll
No.
walk. I'll definitely if I can get somewhere,
Uh-huh.
I'll walk.
Museum or concert?
Wow. Depends on who, but I'd say concert. I'd say.
Okay.
But I love museums too. That's difficult.
Uh-huh.
But concert's probably going to win.
Okay. Last one, today or tomorrow?
Oh, today, right now, this very moment.
Live in the moment.
Absolutely, right now.
Fabulous. Well, Melissa, thank you very much.
Thank you. My pleasure.